Do you think about things that could have happened that didn't? You know,
Yeah.
like a case comes up, you could have been killed, but for this, it saved it. I think of a lot of times of things that could have happened, but didn't.
Well, like that, this incident, we're in a 5-vehicle convoy. They hit vehicle 3, and vehicle 3 was the only up-armored Humvee we had. It was the only one with the extra armor. And I was in 4, and we were in a high-back, open-top Humvee with armor like this thick. You know, if he waited
Yeah,
10 seconds, he would have killed 5 Marines and 2 interpreters.
yeah,
But instead hits the up armored one, kills no one. And so for a while I would think, like, why the hell didn't that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I get killed? You know,
Yeah.
like, what the hell's? And I don't know. But now it's kind of I try not to think
Yeah,
about it
it's
too
funny.
much. But it's just weird. It just
Yeah.
it blows my mind. Like, why the hell didn't that happen?
yeah,
Everybody handles things differently. I was reading an article about the difference between cases of PTSD in
Yeah.
World War II and North Korea versus Vietnam and the current wars of today. And the big theory was the transition itself from country back to the world. You're over in Peleliu or Okinawa, the war ends, you get on board the boats, and it takes about a month to get overseas. And right during that month, you're alongside your support network that experienced almost the exact same things you did.
yeah.
Right alongside you, and all you have is your time and your thoughts. And you get with your guys and you just talk about it over and over. And that's extremely therapeutic, as opposed to Vietnam, where they did it probably the worst way you could have. You go over to Vietnam on your own, essentially. You serve your tour alongside all these guys, and then you go home and you go straight back to the world. And it takes you 3 days with flight and everything. Next thing you know, you're back on your own hometown, and you're looking at all these people, and they don't know anything about it. Literally within a week, you had just been getting shot at. You might have seen dead people, your dead buddies, what have you.
Yeah.
Now, with the whole unit going over to Iraq or Afghanistan and coming home mostly together, depending on the casualties, at least at that point, you return back to the world alongside the same guys. And
Yeah, right.
for us, you know, we pretty much every weekend we'd go to another guy's barracks room or one of the married Marines out in town. We get a bunch of beer, we just drink and tell the same 7 or 8 stories over and over, the most traumatic events. We just tell them to each other over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I've never really had an issue.
Did you find that also that you didn't remember what the hell you actually remembered?
I remember that. I don't know what order things happened. Like in the most intense moments, we all tried to figure out the order of things. It said, oh, well, he threw up then, and then you dragged him out, and we didn't know what happened when.
Yeah.
And we couldn't piece the stories together, despite all of us being there for it.
Well, Nick asked me if I had PSTM, whatever it is,
Shell shock.
when I first come home. And I said, well, in a way, I couldn't stay home. I had to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go where people were, means a bar.
Right.
Not that I'm going to sit there and bullshit war stories, but I'm going to sit there and listen to all the noise and stuff like that. I couldn't eat at home. The only time with that guy, George McNevin, he was in the 1st Regiment. He didn't live far from me. When he heard I was home, he'd come over and visited, and my mother said to him, George, why don't you come over more often? At least he stays home and eats. Because he was sitting there bullshitting, I'm eating. But I couldn't watch people enjoy themselves. I went to a party one time, recently, you know, and everybody's jigging and dancing and having a good time. And I really sat there pissed, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody's having a party. All those years with those guys was never a party, it was always death or whatever, you know what I mean? It was a funny thing. After a while, you come out of it, you know, then I couldn't talk about Levy without filling up, right? Later on, I talk about it, it was just like he was sitting here with me, you know what I mean? But he was a sad case. This guy was everywhere. We give it this business like we were John Wayne shit, you know, before we take off in the morning. He gets hit, D+3, a grenade, and hit him in the chin. He could have been evacuated. 4 days later, we're on Purple Beach, he shows up. He's got a big adhesive tape, looks like a big white beard. Okay. We go over to Niggasibas, he gets too far ahead, somebody shoots into the thing. He comes out with his canteen almost flat. Either bullets it or he hit it when he hit the deck, you know what I mean? Now we go through the whole Niggasibas campaign, come back to Peleliu, and go up on a ridge where they told us, don't lift your head up and look over. Stay down all night, all day long, stay down. At night you can look. He was there, we were up on lines maybe 10 minutes and boom, the shot goes off. But nobody, I don't hear any stretcher bearers or something, so I thought maybe the guy missed, you know. Then when I wanted to get my cigarettes, I went down to Levy to see where his cigarettes were, and Frankie says to me, we didn't want to tell you, Mace. I said, what? He said he's sitting there and he got up and he says, I'm tired of this shit. Stuck his head up, boom, right in the head. You know what I mean? And I was so upset the fact that he had the opportunity to get out of there. You know, he was $1 million wound.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, in fact, there was a guy in the book too, Charlie Allman. When Levy's squad was wiped out, then we absorbed him in my squad. Not your squad, we were in the third squad. I told us Charlie Allman, now be careful, keep an eye on Levy because he draws fire. If this kid drew fire wherever he went. And then when he gets it, I'm staying away from Charlie Allman. He'd think I'm a fucking spirit or something, you know, telling him things like that. Yeah.